So, first of all, good morning. My name is Bruno Caetano. I'm a business director for NDrive in Asia Pacific. Mobile has been a topic that has been discussed over and over AUSMA conferences, and we all understand how mobile is important within digital environment nowadays. But do we really understand the power of mobile nowadays? So, looking into the number of smartphones that are actually shipped just in Asia, we see that only in 2015 there was a shipment of 750 million smartphones, with year-over-year growth quite significant. And there is an expectation to reach 1.5 billion smartphones by 2020. Looking into the global internet advertising, we see as well that mobile has been growing year over year by 34%, whereas desktop advertising has been decreasing by 11%. With this, we understand that, in fact, mobile is taking a very significant role within mobile advertising. Then, looking into the time that actually users are spending within mobile, we see that 20% of users are actually using mobile web, whereas 80% of users are using applications. And this number continues to increase, which means that applications are a place to be if you want to be on the digital space. So basically, we know that in the mobile space, you have to be there. But you need to understand which applications you need to focus on, how to develop, who to partner with, how to increase the number of users, how to create large time sessions, how to generate business from applications, how to have local search brand awareness, how to leverage analytics and CRM, and as well how to adapt and coach your structure. So we are a company, NDrive is a company, is a European company that develops navigation software. We are a team of 50 people, which the single focus is to deliver navigation applications. We have state-of-the-art navigation software. We are one of the leaders within the market with several flagship customers, from mobile manufacturers to mobile telcos as well, to Yellow Page or local search companies, from Eniro to Mapi or FCR Media. What we do a mobile navigation turn by turn with state-of-the-art graphics on board, so which means that the application is actually, or the maps are actually installed within the phone, which means that you don't need connection to the internet in order to be able to navigate. It doesn't matter if you are in the middle of nowhere, you're still going to be able to navigate as long as you have battery and there's a road for you to drive. As well, we are able to incorporate traffic information within our application, which is something that is very important within Asia. As we know, in cities like Manila, like Kuala Lumpur, like Delhi, like Bangkok, the traffic is very intense. So the fact that we are able to deliver traffic is able to save time and save money to the users. We are present in the main mobile environments, from iOS to Android and to Windows Phone 8. We are as well partnering with several Yellow Pages in several markets, and we were able to create a new business revenue stream for Yellow Pages. So why is this important? When we look into the biggest companies within the mobile space, and when we look as well to the most profitable applications, we see that there's something in common, which is navigation. If we look into companies like Apple, like Google, or like Baidu, we see that all of these companies have one or more applications of navigation. In the case of Apple, you have Apple Maps. In the case of Baidu, you have Baidu Maps. In the case of Google, you have Google Maps and as well Waze. When you look into the application providers, you see as well that players like Garmin or TomTom are within the most used and profitable applications within the market. NDrive is actually an application that, regardless of the fact that it's working with their own brand or in association with a partner, so doing an OEM, is always on the top of the most used applications within navigation in several different markets, and they have big players in the industry like Waze or like Google Maps. More important than that, and giving as an example one of the business cases we have with Eniru, we are able to generate user traffic with our application. In the case of Eniru, in 1 year and with 1 million users, we have an average session time of 34 minutes per session. So people are actually staying on the application and using an application for this amount of time, in average. And we have around 90% of returning users to the application, which means that people are using the application and they're actually coming back to the application. So, why is still this important for you? It's important because having an application like navigation is a synonym of having people using the application and having a lot of traffic generated from there. It's important as well to have an onboard application, because when comparing to an offboard application, people are not relying on traffic data, which means that if you are in a place where the coverage is not very good in terms of network, and that happens a lot in Asia, you're not going to be able to navigate. As well, we are working with the local searches on a partnership that allow us to leverage the regional brand. So we are not concerned about using our brand, we're concerned about leveraging your brand. We are able to increase user retention and session times. As well, we are able to create different monetization process, okay, that go from local search to local point advertising and as well in-app sales. We are able to do something very important for your end customers, which is bring the users to the customer's door. This is what they are looking for. And we were, as I said, enabled to bring a new revenue stream for the webbies. Looking into some of the case studies that we have, with the biggest case that we have is with Soloco, with Beijing, Mapi. With Mapi, in the first year, we were able to generate 1 million active users. Today, after 3 years working with Mapi, we have more than 4 million users. We have a mobile two-door business approach, which, as I said, is very important for the small and medium enterprises. We have an excellent traction and retention of users. We are already generating a very interesting value out of the in-app purchasing with Mapi. And for you to have an idea, today we have a value of more or less €1 per each user, active user that Mapi has. With Eniru, which we are working with for the last year and a half, we have today more than 1 million active users. We have a full integrated business person search, being the application integrated as well with other mobile products and web products from Eniru, so we were able to integrate different products. We have already in-app content available, okay, that is being sold. The user traction, as I showed before, is of 90% of returning users, so people are actually using the application and coming back to it. And the value generated per user is of more or less 75 cents per active user, so as well a very interesting number. In Asia, we are starting a project with DPC in the Philippines, and I would like to call Doji Lopez to present a little bit of what we have been doing within the Philippines.
We're very excited about working with the NDrive team, and I'd like to start off by sharing a story that goes back to about 7 years ago, I think before the breakthrough of smartphones. At the time, my CEO, Ricardo Bautista, and I had just both come back from a brief vacation in the US. We were, I think, about within 2 months of each other. And when we sat down once after those particular trips, we shared a eureka moment, which is that at the time, we saw that the personal navigation devices in the States had changed so much that they have actually become, at least for between the two of us, the dream that we have for what a YP service on mobile should be, which is that when you enter your route location or your destination location, it doesn't just give you a route map, it actually gives you recommendations for where to stay, where to eat, what to try out en route. And we were thinking that's the most immersive version of the Yellow Pages on mobile that we've seen so far, and we were thinking how fantastic it would be to bring something like that to a market like the Philippines, which, as you might know, is very, very savvy, especially when it comes to mobile. So having said that, so we have the same learning curve, huh? All right. So some of you might know how exciting a digital and mobile market the Philippines is. Okay. In addition to that data, it's very, very interesting that in the Philippines, we now have almost 120 million mobile users, of which a majority is actually doing local search through their devices, through their mobile devices rather than desktop. In our particular case, we've seen that between last year and this year to date, our mobile traffic growth has actually hit about 73%, such that of our total traffic, about 41% is actually coming from mobile devices, which clearly is something that we need to leverage. So our strategy was to look for more ways to take advantage of that mobile traffic. Today, we basically have 2 touch points on mobile. We obviously have a mobile optimized website, which is how we're getting all of this traffic. We also have a mobile app for your basic YP search. And when we were discussing this after we had met with NDrive, we thought that strategically it makes sense to come up with a new app working with their application to now this time offer a navigation service that's powered by the business listings and the business information of the Yellow Pages. So really the idea is to provide more visibility for our advertisers and our businesses and bring in more users in a manner that was much more immersive than just your passive search. We're also hoping that this will lead to an improvement in the brand perception of the Yellow Pages. What we've decided is to adapt a similar strategy to some of the partners of NDrive, I think in Europe, where rather than confusing the market by coming up with more than one YP app, we have a YP search app, and we will have a navigation app, and we're calling that app Movie, which is a cute take on mobile navigation. So the intention is to take the mobile experience to a different level from just merely search. And with the help of their technology, we will provide the POI data as well as the business listings data to deliver, for example, mobile search that takes users directly to the business storefront, which is really, if you think about the Yellow Pages DNA from all of these decades, is really our objective to bring the ready buyers directly to the storefront of our businesses. Working with RPOI data as well as the technology of NDrive, the user experience allows you to filter and curate the business listings as you please. Therefore, you can do a white page search, meaning to say enter a name. You can also use keywords, or you can use brands, products, and services. And of course, the endeavor is to make it as geographically accurate as possible. The strategy in the Philippines also includes working with a local mapping company called Cybersoft. Cybersoft provides the local map data for which is basically the base maps. the POIs and the directory information come from us, including rich content. And then the direction is to basically deploy this and work closely with both parties, NDrive and Cybersoft, to keep this updated using regular connections of our API. As we said, one of the attractions of working with NDrive is that, and I think Bruno had mentioned this earlier, was that they allow the local partner to actually localize the app. So once we launch the app, what you will actually see, we have a screenshot there of the UI carrying the new brand that we're going to market with. And again, the partnership is very dynamic and very vibrant, which means that basically the management of the app in relation to managing the app stores is handled by the local partner, in this case, TBC. Okay. So, again, the idea is to make sure that we will have a seamless experience between and among our different touch points. So we synchronize the data that you will find from the basic search as well as on the navigation app. But at the same time, the API actually also allows us to not just manage the business listings, but also allow us to eventually manage once we monetize the application by selling different types of advertising options, which would include banner ads, ranking ads, as well as display ads. It's unfortunate that we're going through some QA testing right now. We would have wanted to do a live demo, but as I mentioned earlier, it can be quite powerful in terms of how it empowers the user, in terms of how the user might want to use the app, because as it says here in the bullet, you can search for a place. It does not have to just be a business listing. As I said, it includes both business listings and POIs. From an investment point of view, it's also very cost-effective for us because in partnering with a company like NDrive, we actually had no capital investment because the application already exists. It also leverages assets, in particular the data that we already have, to go to market very, very quickly. So the strategy is to go to market, obviously, similar to our other products and platforms, with the intention to populate the application with as many users as possible. So we go to market hopefully by the first or second week of December, offering the application for free and prioritizing a strategy to bring in as many users as possible. And the idea is that sometime in the first quarter of 2016, after achieving a certain base of users, would be to monetize the product. And I guess something that should be interesting for everybody here is that the business model between NDrive and TBC is based on a revenue share. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. We have a few minutes for questions before we go into our break, if anyone has one. I guess we have one back here. While we're waiting for the mic, could you just talk very quickly about what your strategy is going to be to bring users in, to get users to download and use the app very quickly?
Well, similar to how a lot of popular apps have tried to acquire users, it's very important to first of all, bring in a base of users that would give you positive ratings on the app stores. Mm-hmm. So the priority really is to bring in the innovators among the app users in the market and get them to say very positive things and give you high ratings in the app stores.
Direct communications with people, or how's that working?
It's going to be primarily, I believe, going to be primarily digital.
Yeah.
So we will work with AdWords, mm-hmm. and as well as social media. In the Philippines, as again you might have heard, Twitter and Facebook are is topmost among our addictions next to sugar.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it's a social.
We'll take advantage of all the ads.
Social and AdWords campaign to get
yes.
influencers to.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Question in the back.
Yeah, I have a question relating to the revenue stream. Well, two questions. Firstly, could you give some examples of exactly where the revenue comes from, some examples of what you're actually selling? And then the follow-up question to that is, are we talking here new revenue, or is this revenue that's coming from another source within your product range?
I think that the question is for me. So, well, in terms of the new revenue that is generated, you have different types of revenue that you can generate. First of all, you're generating the revenue based on the fact that you're giving space within the mobile application. So this per se is already a new revenue stream, okay? The way you're delivering or the way you're getting the revenue is based on ranking, first of all. Second of all, you're able to deliver or to get revenue from ad space, from a local point advertising, so by showing banners, for instance, during navigation. And the third revenue stream, which is getting more and more important, and we have seen this with MAPI and with Eniro, is coming from in-app sales. So today you have a lot of content that is sold by local searches, by Yellow Pages, that is printed, and you are able to, instead of just print it, to add it as an add-on within the store and to generate revenue from there.
All right.
But is this revenue that already exists within them, or is it really incremental revenue?
If you put it digital, if you have it, for instance, in the case of the in-apps, if you put it digital, so if it's something that you only have on paper, yes, this is incremental. Besides that, within in-apps, you can sell not only things that you have in books, but as well you can sell extra maps, you can sell extra features like text-to-speech or like traffic information, and this, if you compose it like that, becomes a very interesting revenue stream.
Bruno, very quickly, you're 100% private label, or do you have any sort of NDrive branded, is the nav strictly private label?
We have NDrive branded applications in several markets. Mm-hmm. Usually what we do is when we work locally with a partner, so let's say with the Yellow Pages company, we tend to have only one application in